Here we go. This is F1 22. Take your seat for the new era of Formula 1. This game comes out July 1st, and the big headline things coming to F1 22. First of all, F1 Life, a new customizable hub with supercars, clothing, and accessories, kind of living the life of an F1 driver away from the circuit. Enhancements to my team, we haven't been told what they are exactly, apart from there will be a new starting option of starting budget to allow for players who know the game in and out to have a harder challenge at the start of my team career mode. VR is coming to Formula 1. Oculus Rift and HTC Vive will be available to use on PC on F1 22. Adaptive AI and some reworked circuit. But we got the full press release, and as I always do when the game gets revealed, we're gonna nitpick this entire thing for every single detail we can so far of the brand new Formula 1 game from Codemasters, published by EA. Race day reimagined with new cars, regulations, race options, and the introduction of the Miami Grand Prix. Race options, that's interesting. We're going to delve into that. So here we are then, Codies EA, announcement of, well, right now, let's talk about the name. EA Sports F1 22. No longer F1 2021, 2022, it's just 22 in the same stylized way they've done the FIFA games, which, I don't know, it's going to take some getting used to. I think I'm going to definitely slip up on that on saying it as 2022, but it's F1 22 this year, and as I said, it's coming out on Friday, July the 1st. No surprise, it's the Friday of the British Grand Prix. It's the pattern of the F1 games. The release window is always on the same weekend as the British Grand Prix, so July 1st, no surprise there, to be honest. But here we are, in the biggest shake-up for over a decade. Players will take their seats for the 2022 Formula 1 Championship. Obviously, new hybrid cars, overhauled rules, reimagined, and the inclusion of F1 sprint races. So that's maybe what the race options were alluding to. We're going to get F1 sprints as a mechanic in the game. Maybe even in my team and career mode, F1 sprint will be built into the actual way the race weekend is done on obviously the specific races where we have the F1 sprints in real life. So that's intriguing. Okay, let's continue on. More competition, unpredictability, 2022 calendar. Yeah, we've got the Miami Grand Prix, of course. In another first, players can step into the glamorous world of Formula 1 with F1 Life, a customizable hub to show off their collection of supercars, clothing, and accessories earned via gameplay, podium pass, and the in-game brand store. So F1 Life, essentially this is F1 EA and Codemasters' answer to kind of, well, let's be honest, making a bit more money in the game, basically, because F1 Life will be kind of almost like your, customizable kind of, I don't know, well, it says hub character, I suspect, with a collection of supercars, clothing, accessories. So we've got an in-game character with, different clothes maybe, sunshades, accessories, watches, because that's a massive thing probably in Formula 1, of course, collection of supercars, and that's earned via gameplay. But then, like, Fortnite, Call of Duty, all these games, you've got the podium pass, which you've had for a while, but now maybe the podium pass will be even more kind of useful, I guess, in this part of the game, and a bit more fleshed out, and then in-game brand store. So essentially just a place where you can spend real money in the game for these customizations, but it doesn't seem like it's going to affect any of the gameplay. It will just literally be like, if you want to have a cool looking guy, a collection of supercars or whatever, we don't really know. We haven't seen much, we haven't seen anything of F1 Life at the moment. None of the screenshots say it, but that'll be the place to do it. And then, as usual, there's a Champions Edition of the game, so you can get 3 days early access, and a time-limited Miami-inspired content pack. So that's, okay, interesting. So there's a Miami-themed thing, I'm guessing, for F1 Life. So F1 Life, that's one of the big things here, is a new space in the F1 game where it's all about customization and kind of away from the racing, about you as a player, as an F1 driver, basically, in this world of Formula 1. Moving on to what the game director Lee Mather has to say, we've updated the physics to accommodate new aero rules and reworked the tyre model. last year already had a different tire model, and we definitely felt that on the curbs and the way the tires warmed up, and maybe the general understeer in the game in F1 2021 versus 2020. So the tire model's been reworked. Of course, 18-inch rims, that's going to be a massive difference, but also just generally speaking, they've probably changed it to try and make it even better, as they always try and do every year. But we've got the new aero rules, of course, makes the handling more true to life. Like I said, tire model more true to life. New and updated circuits. So we are going to get updates to, well, hopefully most of the circuits. There's a screenshot of the Spanish Grand Prix, and we are going to get the new Catalonia, as we definitely should do. Obviously, they've massively changed that in the last sector, so we'll be getting that. And this is, plural, circuits. So I'm hoping that, generally speaking, every circuit is getting an update where it needs to be, where it maybe wasn't as true to life as it was, or where there are literally massive changes like the Spanish Grand Prix. Adaptive AI. That's interesting. Adaptive. So that's quite interesting. That's the first time a word like adaptive's ever been used with these AI. We've always had improvements to AI, but adaptive kind of means more on-the-fly changes as we play the game here. F1 Life, of course, as we discovered earlier, and expanded gameplay options. There has never been a better time for players to take their seats and live the life of an F1 driver. That's the emphasis. Live the life of an F1 driver with F1 Life, with all this stuff outside of the racing, but then at the same time, expanded gameplay options. I think that maybe means F1 Sprints available. I hope to God that means there are now sliders maybe for race lengths and a lot more customization of the actual race options we can do in Grand Prix mode and also in career mode and My Team. We've not heard My Team yet. It is there at the bottom. Redefined Race Day allows players to customize their setup with new immersive and broadcast options that affect formation laps, safety car periods, and pit stops. Select immersive and players will face risk-reward challenges. So immersive is in realistic, maybe. So safety car periods, maybe warming up their tires properly. Maybe there's like a little bit more of an emphasis on warming up your tires. Pit stops, does that mean we're going to get the return of manual having to time the click for the pit stop like F1 2010, or brake pedal for F1 like F1 2010? Potentially, I don't know. Risk versus reward would seem like it, but generally also broadcast options. That's interesting, which could be the difference between a place on the podium or finishing outside the points. That's the risk reward. Broadcast takes the pressure off with controlled and authentic cinematics, so probably more like real life then, that keeps players close to the action. For the ultimate immersive F1 experience, the new PC VR functionality via Oculus Rift and HTC Vive enables players to feel the drama from right inside the cockpit. So VR is coming to F1 22. On PC, you can use an Oculus Rift or HTC Vive to play this game in VR. I've done F1 VR before in Assetto Corsa. Very, very cool. Bit of a novelty for me personally. I wouldn't play it long term, but it's definitely an experience you have to try at least once, which is so sick. And so for PC players, for those of you who maybe want to play it all the time, you can play the whole game in VR then. Very interesting. For new and casual fans, the new adaptive AI keeps less experienced players competitive throughout each race, with opposing AI tailored to match the skill level. So, like I said, AI changing on the fly, but that surely also hopefully means for even the on the other end of the spectrum, they're going to get harder, I would hope, to try and give you more of a challenge or learn the way you drive. Accessible menus and handling also return to help players get into the action. Refreshed practice modes, thank God. They really needed a revamp because they were the same as the last couple of years, so thankfully we're going to get refreshed practice modes in career mode, and they offer more variety with new scoring systems and on-track visualization. So that's going to be a lot better for the start of the career mode, start of My Team. That, practice sessions are going to be looking a little bit different, so we might actually bother playing them for quite a long time. F1 22 also boasts enhancements to returning features, including My Team, allowing players to choose their starting budget based on 3 entry points: newcomer, challenger, and front runner. So that's really for those of you who felt it was too easy, like myself. We might want to choose, we're a newcomer, so we're going to get the lowest budget ever. Challenger, front runner, for those of you who maybe know that you're not going to play loads of seasons of My Team, start with front runner and you can actually immediately be there. But for me and for a lot of you hardcore players, it'll be newcomer we choose with the most restrictive budget. I kind of hope that, with the emphasis on budget, This means that in-game mechanically, the cost cap is also going to be a thing now in the game. We want to see that over the distance. F1 22 also features its critically acclaimed 10-year career mode. That's the driver career, of course, complete with a 2-player option, so co-op is still there, and multiplayer obviously back for epic races around the globe. And also the game sees real-life track updates. Okay, so the tracks that are updated are Australia, Spain, and Abu Dhabi to reflect recent changes. So Australia, obviously massive change. Spain was Sector 3, and Abu Dhabi again Sector 3, with the big changes we saw with that massive kind of banked left-hander. So those 3 tracks are going to get the updates. I suspect that's actually going to be it then. So unfortunately, if you're hoping for other reworked circuits, I doubt it. I think these are going to be the 3 that are the only ones reworked in the game. The rest of them will be the kind of same tracks we've had for the last couple of years in terms of the scanning and the CAD data of how wide and whatever the circuits are at certain points. In terms of information for my team and enhancements, that we've not heard really much. The only thing here is the starting budget. I really hope there's more enhancements, because it says plural, but this is one enhancement, so I hope there are more enhancements to be revealed. Obviously, I know they'll want to keep some close to their chest right now, so I'm banking on there being more enhancements, and obviously, when I know, I'll come to you with that information. But the biggest addition to my team, I guess, in the whole game seems to be F1 Life, which I'm going to be real with you guys. It's very, EA of the whole thing. I'm not surprised at that, but I'm hoping that there's going to be a bit more to offer here with my team as well. My team was already in a really good position on F1 2021. They needed some enhancements, though, to keep it fresh. So I'm hoping and banking on that this is going to be a proper load of enhancements and not just this starting budget and the tracks then. And it sounds like the normal driver career hasn't had much change to it. It would seem maybe. And the co-op career mode probably is going to be about the same thing I say was last year. But we don't know yet about these enhancements yet. So I'm going to hold my judgment on that. So that is what we know so far about F1 22. The trailer itself, it was basically just a bit of a hype piece, basically. But last year, with the story mode, obviously there was actually something to, make a trailer out of, audio bits and whatnot. Whereas this year, there is no story mode. I already told you guys about that in a previous video. That obviously this game works on a 2-year cycle. Story mode was in 2019, 2021. So the next story mode we'll get is on next year's game, F1 23. F1 22 is going to be more focused on enhancing the other game mode. Like we've seen, we've got F1 Life. That's something clearly they've made a massive change into. And I'm really hoping the fact it says boasts enhancements to my team, I'm hoping that there are enough new or refreshed features in my team career mode to actually make that game mode very fresh and new. And I just hope the UI and the menu is completely different. But in terms of the looks of this game, for this stage of the year to show us screenshots that look this polished, I'm very impressed. Looks very, very cool. We don't know quite yet if this game is moving over onto a new engine. I wouldn't say so. It doesn't look like it from the screenshots, but the trailer is quite polished and high res, but it's not in-game gameplay, so it's a bit of a throw kind of a fakery in that kind of regard. I think if you look at the screenshots, it seems like we're still running on the same Ego engine as we were on last year's game. So it begs the question, when are we going to be moving to a brand new Ego engine, or are we going to be moving to something like Unreal 5 for the true next-gen experience for F1? Remains to be seen. We're still waiting on that, and it's not going to be here for F1 22. So overall, I don't know. I think I was expecting a bit more from the trailer, and in terms of the press release, I would have liked them to at least told us one more thing with my team career mode, but I suspect maybe they're holding back. Obviously, right now, the headline thing they want to show is F1 Life and the kind of changes to the cars and the physics and VR, and I guess they'll be kind of waiting for the right time to share more about my team. But that is going to be it then for this F1 22 reveal with all the details you need to know off the back of this reveal, press release, whatever. If you're new around here, get subscribe for more F1 22 news as it comes out. Guys, let me know in the comments below what you make of the reveal, the trailer, the details you just heard in the comments below. Hit the like button if you found the video informative, and I'll catch you guys around. Goodbye.